back to my YouTube channel. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you can keep watching more videos like this. I'm going to be giving you guys tricks and tips and things that I wish I knew before I got my navel piercings. It's more complex than you think. Yes, it's a really gorgeous piercing. I love mine. It's like an extra accessory for being on the beach or when I wear crop tops. It's just really cute, but there are things that you need to know, and it'd be nice to know before you get it, or if you're still in the healing process and need some info. I will give you my experience and my tips and ideas, and also some experience from my friends. We got a belly piercing at almost the same time, and we both had our issues, but thankfully everything's figured out. First thing I'll say is pain tolerance. This is a really big thing on how bad does it hurt. It's on your stomach. Well, you can see how bad it would hurt by pinching that skin right there. There's not as many nerves on your stomach, on like the surface of your belly, so it luckily does not hurt that bad. I would rate my piercing experience a 4 out of 10. The pain wasn't awful. It was just like a very hard pinch, but I have trouble with needles, so I look down and I see this gorgeous piercing. But the first thing I think is, there's a rod in my stomach. Like, it kind of freaked me out, so I got a little bit dizzy. So just do acknowledge that. Some people's piercings do bleed, sometimes even a lot, like a puddle of blood. Sorry to put that in your head, but I've heard about stories like that. Luckily, mine didn't have much bleeding. Maybe if you looked really hard, you could find a little bit of blood, but it was nothing too hard to manage. So after you get the piercing, what's next? Well, the healing process. The healing process takes 6 months to a year to heal. It just depends on how your body reacts, how fast it heals, how well you maintain it and clean it. That is very important for this piercing. There's so much skin on top that there's a lot of area that there is a piercing in, if that makes sense. Does that make sense? I don't know how to say this. So in this 6 months to a year, you can experience rejection. You can experience infection. That rhymes. That was weird. This is a piercing you really need to work on maintaining. It's not a piercing that you can clean it for a week and you're fine. No, you need to clean it for like 3 months to more, at least, every single day. But this does not mean soap. This means non-iodized salt or a saline solution. You can find the saline solutions at like a CVS, or non-iodized salt is literally at a grocery store. I started off with the saline solution and it was kind of expensive, so non-iodized salt, you get more bang for your buck with that, but I'm not exactly sure. I would talk to your piercer and ask them what is best to start off with. Maybe the saline solution is the better bet because it is like a medical thing, where salt is, it's just salt, but it cleans it super well. That's how I clean all my piercings and jewelry. I soak them in non-iodized salt, and I did get an infection over the summer. Of course, right before I went into camp, I had an infection on my navel piercing the whole week. So that meant going to the cafeteria to get hot water from the tea machine and using my little bag of non-iodized salt, putting it in a shot glass, and then laying it on my stomach. So that's how you clean it, even if you don't have an infection. Right when you get it done, I have a rash. I don't know what that's from. Okay, so you put the shot glass on, filled up with water, on your stomach, and then you like lean back, and I lay on my bed and I wait. I think it was like 5 minutes of soaking it. So I would do that every morning before school, and then I would also do it before I went to bed that night. So 2 times a day, 5 minutes, and it works better if it's warmer water. If you have an infection, I do suggest warm water. So one of the biggest questions is, when can I change my piercing? Well, it's like 6 months to a year. It's in that range. I wouldn't change it before 6 months. For one, my friend did change her piercing. I don't know if it was before or after 6 months or before or after a year, but she took it out, she forgot about it, and guess what? It closed up. So she had to go get it re-pierced. So this is a piercing that can close up very fast, and it is not going to feel good to have to shove your piercing back in it or to have to go back and get it re-pierced again. In some cases, piercers will not re-pierce it again because they're afraid of the cartilage that's built up. It can be damaging or something like that. I'm not a piercer, I don't know, but something to do with the cartilage that builds up after it's healing. If you don't want to never be able to have your belly button pierced again, or for it to go through another 6 months of healing to a year, I would fully recommend to wait to change your piercing, or even quickly take it out, clean it up, quickly put the new piercing in, and make sure that piercing is sterilized. That's a big thing. You don't just want to put a piercing right from the package or a piercing that's been hanging around on your desk. You want to make sure it's fully clean just to be safe. Even if it's just from the package, you never know, you know. You bought it from where, you don't really know who touched it. Just make sure you clean it. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is things that you don't know and things that people usually won't tell you. So yes, it's a beautiful piercing, but let me tell you, it is annoying sometimes. So high-waisted jeans will be your worst enemy. They're my best friend, but also my worst enemy with my piercing. I find myself a lot, like in class, having to unbutton my top button because the top of the pants literally are irritating my belly button, because my belly button has a new piercing and it's literally rubbing against it and it hurts. For at least, I don't know, at least the first week, try your best to wear more stretchy pants and low rise pants. You can still wear high rise, just be very careful. I would also like to bring up a time where I was wearing high-waisted jeans and I stand up from my chair at school and it grabbed onto that newly pierced piercing and pulled it, and that hurts so bad. So just be very careful, be cautious, remember that you have a piercing there, because it will hurt. That's the thing. The piercing itself does not hurt very bad, but the healing process is the worst part of the piercing. Alright, so the next thing is beaches, lakes, pools. I would highly suggest getting your piercing in the fall. I got mine in the fall and I had all fall and all winter to heal and to get that piercing recovered. Yes, it wasn't a year and it wasn't fully healed by the time I was able to go to beaches and pools. It's a lot better than getting it in the spring and then going a few months into the summer, having your belly button piercing exposed to the water and the chemicals and the sand and things like that. That can get you an infection, and infections are very scary. Your piercing can literally reject. If it rejects, I don't know if you can get it pierced again. And infections suck and they hurt and they're annoying and you have to deal with them. So just try your best to keep it clean. Just be smart on when you get it and the places that you go and the things that you do. I wouldn't want to stop you from going to the beach, but just be cautious. You might even want to put a band-aid over it if you do get it in the summer, but just remember that those things can give you infections. The last thing I want to talk about is getting to know your piercer. You want to make sure that you get somebody that's good, because there are people who can pierce it wrong. There'll be too thin of skin, so on the surface there won't be enough skin, or they'll go too deep. These are things that can be very scary because you can get infections and you can have your piercing actually reject if there's not enough surface. So what I would highly suggest is that you talk to people. It's very important to make sure you get somebody that knows what they're doing, because if you get this piercing off-centered, it's not going to look good. It's going to look weird because it's literally in the middle of your body. It's not just a piercing where you can just stick the needle through and it'll look good. You want somebody that's actually good at placement, and that's an art. So make sure that they know what they're doing and that they're good at their placement. So seeing photos and reviews that they have done and piercings that they have done is really good to see what you want. People that know what they're doing may reject you and say, I'm not going to pierce your belly button. There are actually belly buttons that cannot be pierced. Sadly, I'm sorry, people who have outies can be very hard to be pierced. In some cases will not be able to be pierced. Narrow belly buttons, okay, how do I explain it? Like an oval shape, kind of like that. If you have a belly button like that and it's not like circular, you can be rejected on that too. My friend almost wasn't able to get her belly button pierced because of that. And if you get somebody that says, no, I'm not going to pierce you, you don't have a good enough belly button, not good enough, but your belly button isn't right, it might reject, it might get an infection. I would highly suggest that you just don't get it. I know it's really sad, but it might be safer. I wouldn't just go to another person. I mean, you can always get a second opinion from somebody else, but somebody might be really good and say, you know what, I can't do this, I won't do this. And if you go to somebody else who's a little more easygoing and then you get an infection, I'm just warning you before it happens. Alright, the next thing I'm going to be talking about is doing what's right for you. So everyone is different. Everybody's skin reacts differently to certain metals. I was pierced with a surgical steel piercing, and I still use it. I have 2 piercings that I can use because I did get an infection from a piercing that had more copper in it, and that really was awful. But I have a gold piercing and I have my surgical steel piercing. I only have 2 piercings because I have to get the better material, better metals, because my skin can be sensitive. These are more expensive piercings, so just keep that in mind. Yes, cheaper ones will be cheaper, but if you are very sensitive to it, it's not going to end well. It's not going to be worth it for you. My friend's piercing actually started to reject right after she got her piercing with the ring that she got pierced with. So she had to take it out, yeah, ouch, and put in a gold ring. So everyone's different. I didn't react to the surgical steel, but she did. And some people might not even react to more copper piercings like I do. You can tell a lot by your ear piercings. If you've gotten a lot of infections in the past, you might be very sensitive, or even if you haven't recently but used to get infections when you first got them pierced, I would be careful, because this is not just like a thin ear piercing. This is more skin. It's right in the middle of your body. You just make sure you care for it and you know what's right for you. That's all I have left for this video, you guys. Hit that like button if you liked it, and go ahead and subscribe if you want to see more content like this. If you have any questions on things that I did not cover, go ahead and comment them below. And to those who really need to hear this today, you are beautiful, you are strong, and you are important. Don't let anybody make you feel like you are any less than that. So thank you so much for watching my video. I really appreciate you guys. Until further ado, see you next time.